This video is going to be about how to use the symbol palette to create a pie chart so that we can do our mandala. So the first thing we need to do is to get some things set up. Let's try by starting out. We're going to need symbols. Gradient will be helpful later on, and maybe transparency. So we can find the symbol palette up here under symbols. So we go to Window and come down to Symbols. Okay, so we can turn that on, and we'll get back to that in a minute. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to go to our rectangle tool, and I'm going to press and hold on that. And I'm going to get my ellipse tool. Now, if I hold down the Alt key and the Shift key at the same time, and then right about in the middle of my page, and I click and I drag, it will go out from the center and be constrained. So Alt will make it in the center, and the Shift key will constrain it so that we have a very large circle. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is, you'll see that I have my transform palette here. We can get to transform by coming up here and finding transform under window. Okay, so from your transform palette down here, we have these little pie slice editors, and the geometry is going to be very precise for this, and there's going to be a lot of precise stuff you need to do. So I'm going to hit 22.5, which would help us do a circle. Okay, so let's minimize this and take a look at some of the functionalities here. I'm going to grab my selection tool, and I can do all kinds of freehand work with this if I wanted to. You could even make a Pac-Man. Okay, I'm going to hit Control Z a few times and get it back to 22.5. This next step is extremely important. If you do not do the next step right now, you're going to regret it. So we're going to have our object selected using the selection tool. We're going to go to our symbol palette. So once again, it's up here under Windows, Symbol. Okay, and remember how we talked about if you click down here, it will create something new. This is going to be common to a lot of your palettes. We're going to click New, and we do not want a movie clip. We want a graphic. Okay, so I'm going to call this, and the rest of those settings are all fine. So we can hit OK. So now you'll notice there is a symbol in this little window here. So it's very important that you do that, because if you continue on from this point and you're just flipping and flopping objects, your project will not work the way it's supposed to. So we have worked with Reflect, and we know that the Reflect tool is under the Rotate tool. So I'm going to click and hold, and then I'm going to select the Reflection tool. I can tell that my object is still selected, and if I hold down the Alt key, we can do very precise things. You can hit Reflect and do all kinds of other things, but that is not what we want. We need that precise reflection. So I'm going to click here right on the horizontal line, and I want to do a horizontal axis copy. Okay, now if I hold down my space bar and my control key, I can zoom in, and I can hold my space bar to move things around like this. I'm going to hit Control Y to toggle into wireframe mode. Notice how my two pie slices are not exactly touching. We really need them to be precisely together. So I'm going to click this, and I'm just going to drag this up and position this as best I can. I think that's pretty darn good. Okay, if you're a really precise person, you can zoom into your heart's content. There is a point where Illustrator won't zoom anymore, but at this point, for letter size page, we're not blowing this up to billboard size. Everything should be good. Okay, so now if you need to get back out of wireframe mode, you can always hit Control Y at any time. Okay, so let's minimize. Well, no, we don't want to minimize that just yet. All right, the next step, we're going to take our selection tool, and I'm going to draw a box, and I'm going to grab both of these edges. I'm going to zoom out just so you can see what happened. I hit Control 0, and now you can see that I have both of the pie slices selected, and these are both symbols. So let's zoom way back in. Okay, it's going to be important that you zoom in. Now we have them both selected, and now we're going to go to the Rotate tool. So we click and hold, and now I'm selecting Rotate. The same way we've been holding down the Alt key, I'm going to hold down the Alt key, and I'm going to click right here on the point of those two pies. And then I'm going to type in -5, copy. And things are looking pretty good, so I'm going to hit, and you can duplicate a function. So let's say I just rotated something. If I hit Control D, it will duplicate the last thing. Now, if I rotate something, then click out, that automatic duplication will be lost because you have already confused the computer and done something else. So before I hit anything else, click anything else, Control D, and let's zoom back out, Control 0, and now we have a beautiful pie. Let's take a look at it in the preview mode. So we're in wireframe now, and now we're in preview. Notice how it's a perfect circle. Okay. One thing you have to remember is if I come in here and I move this while I'm in editing symbol mode, watch what happens. Oh dear. Whatever you do, do not move. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control Z, and then come back out, and everything is back together. Okay, so we'll talk in the next video a little bit more about how you can edit a pie slice, and it will populate this whole beautiful mandala that you've got here.